Welcome then to the live finish of Clément Giraud on board La Compagnie de l'Agility, arriving in 21st place in his Vendée Globe. He's had a pretty tough period coming into the finish, but good conditions now as he arrives towards the famous Nush Sud boy, the finish line of the Vendée Globe. And Clément there on deck, enjoying the swift run in. He's doing about 15-16 knots at the moment. Boat looks to be in pretty good condition, doesn't it? So the boat was built originally in 2006-07 for Jeremy Bayou, originally Delta d'Or. Phare design, which finished 7th in the Vendée Globe as Louis Burton's Bourreau Valley. And as you possibly know, Clément really struggled to make the start line. His original boat went on fire just before the start of the Transat Jacques Vabre in 2019, October 2019. And he missed the race, therefore, and unfortunately his sponsors pulled out. However, he has been lent this boat by Eric Nigon. It's a very generous show of solidarity. And for that reason, and that reason only, he managed to make the start, having just done the two IMOCA races in his career, the Bermude 1000 race on his original boat, and then he did the Vendée Arctic race on this boat. So really, he'd only done the one solo race before the start of his Vendée Globe. So this really is a big, major accomplishment for Clément today. Clément's 40 years old. He grew up in Martinique. He lived there till he was 18, and he says he pretty much lived on the water once he got started windsurfing. And he's a bit of an adventurer as well. He's made a challenge to go through the Northwest Passage. He cruised extensively in the Pacific Islands with his very young family. But he says he's really happy to have raced this race in race mode rather than as an adventurer. He had some pretty tough times, some big storms, not least, he said, the last 3 or 4 days of this race, as others have said before they arrived. As others have said, the last few days of the race have been the most intense, the toughest. Big winds and big waves just before Cape Finisterre. So magical moments, not the sunniest and brightest of morning, but nonetheless beautiful images there of Clément Giraud then. He said he originally dreamt of racing around the world, inspired by the feats of Bruno Perron and Peter Blake back in the days of Commodore Explorer, and Blake with and they both were challenging for the Jules Verne record, going under 80 days. The days of Commodore Explorer and Enza. And then he remembers at the age of 13 or 14 going to a Pro-Am event in Marseille at the same time that Sébastien Josse was doing his first challenge for his Vendée Globe in 2004. And one of his friends knew Seb Josse a little bit. And they met, and he said that was the point that he really decided he wanted to do the Vendée Globe sometime in his life. So achieving that ambition today. A very, very experienced sailor. So many different facets to his careers. He sailed the Mini, sailed the cruise, he sailed the R40s. He sailed the 90-foot 5 Classic Mariska. Orma, Trimarans, Volvo 60s and 70s. A pretty accomplished bowman in his own right. So just to clarify, for those of you who maybe are not up to speed on the channel and the tides in the channel here in Les Sables de l'Olonne, well, we understand that Clément will cross the finish line. Is J2 and full main, perfect conditions really to finish. Not overpressed, not overstressed, and just enjoying the ride. So for sure, credit to Eric Nigon for lending Clément his boat. He is an equal partner in this voyage, really. Clément's done the sailing. Eric's been generous enough to make sure that this solo skipper has completed his Vendée Globe, completed his ambition, which he's had, as I say, since he was a young teenager. So coming in close to the line now. In a few minutes, he should be across the line. You can see just the skyline there. Traditionally, the skipper goes on the bow to cross the finish line. And Clément's up there. And that's it. Clément Giraud crosses the line in 21st place in his Vendée Globe. His target was to go, the original target always, he said, was to get through the line in under 100 days. And there you go, 99 days, 19 hours, and 16 minutes on my clock. We'll give you the official time. Yeah, 9:28:31 UTC is the time. Little credit to our meteo specialist, Christian Dumard, who predicted his finish time would be 10:27. Well, 10:28 is a pretty good ETA, Christian. But that magical moment now for Clément Giraud, as he realizes he's done it, he's through the finish line. It's hard to take in the accomplishment, the achievement, even though you've been anticipating that moment for so many hours, days indeed. Skippers so often talk about the fact they don't let themselves focus on the finish line. Really, sometimes until they're almost there. Stress stays with them all the way to the finish line, and that's this huge moment of relief as his team are on board. And Clément Giraud, solo ocean racer, solo around the world non-stop, is no longer solo. He has his team on board. Head sail is rolled away. And all credit as well then to Clément's sponsors. They came in only in September last year. La Compagnie de Lait, of course, supported Stéphane Ledoraison in the last race. So a company with a history in the Vendée Globe, stepping in at the last minute to support Clément Giraud, and Agility, an IT specialist company. joining in for this huge adventure. 99 days and 19 hours, I think it was. So Clément, not having followed the traditional path, if you like, did race the Mini in, I think it was 2007. 2005, he raced the Mini and finished 11th. 2007, he did the North Pole expedition with the French explorer Sébastien Roubinier. 2009, he did the Louis Vuitton Cup as a bowman. He also did the European Championships for the TP52s. Raced to did a lot of IRC racing, so a real all-rounder, what some people might call a Swiss Army knife sailor, a sailor with a massive list of accomplishments on different classes, but not so experienced in the Mocha class. Not a big racing career in the Mochas, so huge credit to him. He showed great seamanship and resolve application. So say finish time for Clément Giraud, 10:28:55. So his team are on board. He will, in due course, he'll be have an inspection from the scrutineers, making sure that all his seals are in place. So various items, including the rudder, the prop shaft, and items of safety equipment and so on, are secured with seals to make sure that the skipper doesn't use them, obviously. Though just on that very note, remember that some of the safety items which were previously sealed are now no longer required to be sealed after the evacuation of Kevin Escoffier of PRB. There was an amendment around the fleet after Kevin's evacuation, his abandonment of PRB, to change the specificity of the safety items that had to be sealed, so that they were actually they could be more accessible for a skipper who had to abandon. So, for those who are interested, the statistics for Clément Giraud, Compagnie de l'Agility, finished on the 16th of February at 9:28:31 UTC. His race time is 99 days, 20 hours and 8 minutes. So 3 hours and 52 minutes inside his target. His delta to the first boat, to Yannick Besthaven, is 19 days, 16 hours, 23 minutes. So just on that note, those of you who have been following the race very closely, you notice that 19 days on the last race, we had the 8th place finisher. And at this race, 19 days, we have the 21st finisher. So gives you an idea of the comparisons between this race and the last race. And his delta to DDAC is 2 days, 13 hours, 41 minutes. He's sailed the theoretical course, 24,365 miles in 10.17 knot average. And on the actual course he sailed, 28,137 miles, his average speed is 11.74 knots. Comparisons with DDAC, well, DDAC sailed 28,172 at 12.07. And as I said, Clément, 28,137, 11.74. These tiny little margins over the course of the race, but when you consider that a few hundredths of a knot or tenths of a knot are spread over 100 days of racing, and nearly 29,000 miles, it does all add up. So everything under control on board La Compagnie de Lee. Clément Giraud's technical team on board, helping him get the sails down. And these moments when he's back with others, sailors, friends and family, technical team on board, are really some of the most magical moments. But it signals the end of the solo phase. A successful completion of his first Vendée Globe. So yeah, it was 1993 when he was 13 years old, when the trophy Jules Verne was in full swing with Commodore Explorer with Bruno Perron. It was the first to pass under 80 days, and then of course ends on New Zealand a little bit later. That was when he was really became aware of these boats going round the world, or these boats sailing around the world. And he said with his friends at that time, it was just a crazy idea. And in the old days, he used to finish college in the midday, and then they'd go off and sail all day, every day. The laser that they sailed on. So they say the first time he imagined doing the Vendée Globe ever was this Pro-Am event in Marseille. And he and his friends, there were 6 of them in the car, and they went to this Pro-Am event in Marseille, and that was the first Vendée Globe for Sébastien Jost, and there was one of his friends knew him a little bit. So with his friends in the car, he said it was something he would love to do, to take 3 months on a boat. So that ambition then, that little dream starting all these years ago, realized today. He also used to surf. He was a surfer when he was young in the Caribbean. And he used to surf, and one of the reasons he did his sailing certificates originally was to surf in different locations round and about. So his first sailing experiences, he sailed with his brothers, 4 brothers and sisters, and he sailed with his godfather, Bruno Casting. And he spent a lot of time helping disabled sailors and those in therapy to get out onto the waters of Brittany And every summer when he came back to France, he sailed with his godfather, who he says his eyes used to light up. That's his godfather. And it was his godfather's passion for life, and he passed that passion on to him. So all credit then to Clément Giraud's godfather, Bruno Castin, who really got him into sailing and offshore sailing. And beyond that, he now lives in Toulon. And when he was based there, he did a first delivery trip between Toulon and Genoa. But with no autopilot or GPS, there's just the rudimentary basics. And that was really when he got hooked on passage making. And he's just reflecting, this was his interview before the start, he just reflected on a 20-year career when he's just gone from one thing to another. I don't know how it will all end up, but it's like he said it's like a current taking him along from one challenge to another. I'm lucky to have the support of his wife, who he's shared his life with for 18 years, his children and his family. And he thinks it's the love of his wife and his family that have been instrumental in letting him pursue all these adventures. And I'm pretty sure that's his wife on the foredeck with him. You never get tired of these moments. You can see every finish over the years in the Vendée Globe, and these emotions are always very special. These moments when the skipper is reunited with his nearest and dearest. And the nearest and dearest, of course, go through a different race, a different level of stress, but it's always there. Even the Anne Lecams of this world, who have supported Jean Lecam for 5 Vendée Globes, and somebody like Anne, who's been through the very, very worst of times when Jean was upside down in his boat in 2008-2009 race. That level of stress never diminishes. You deal with it in a different way, I'm quite sure. But always an important and emotional moment when they throw their arms around their skipper, and that's a real confirmation that they're home and safe. So his project manager, Julie, says, never give up and you'll go far. And I think that's a very true maxim. And Julie's here, and one of the guiding lights of this project. He says if he wasn't an ocean racer, what would he be doing? Well, he says he'd be quite happy to be out in the Pacific Island just surfing every day. So thank you for joining us for this live with Clément Giraud. I think it's just a little bit complicated for us to get our team on board to maybe get a few words from Clément, but we'll have plenty over the course of the day. He'll come into the channel in the afternoon. But it's just fantastic to see the successful conclusion of Clément Giraud's race. his moment of glory. You know, a big fleet, record fleet of 33 boats left Les Sables d'Olonne back on the 8th of November. '25 either finishing or due to finish. So that's our live for the moment. Clément Giraud back among his family, his proche, his close, nearest and dearest. He'll enjoy the hours with them until he can get into the channel. We'll have some good food, perhaps a little bit of sustained rest even, knowing that his boat's in good hands. But join us in the afternoon for Clément Giraud coming into the Les Sables d'Olonne channel. Watch out on social media for the exact timings. And please do join us later on in the day.